The story begins in Denmark in the age of the Vikings. At the top of a mountain, a giant was playing happily with his young child. Suddenly, the leader of a Danish tribe appeared with knights carrying the intention to kill the giant. Before they could approach, the giant discovered them from afar. To protect his son, he quickly carried him to the other side of the mountain. However, the leader and his people surrounded him. The giant hid the child on the mountainside and tried to scare them away instead of fighting, hoping they would leave. But they did not withdraw. They attacked him with spears, arrows, and burning torches. The giant lost his balance, fell down the mountain, and died immediately. From his hiding spot, the small child silently witnessed everything. The leader moved to the edge of the mountain to remove his mask. When he looked down, he saw the child. In the moment, he was about to kill it, but because it was just a child, he decided to let it live. Without saying anything to his subordinates, he turned away. The small child climbed down the mountain. On the beach, it found his father's immobile body. He tried to pull it away from the crows and vultures, but the body was too heavy. Finally, he used a tool to cut the body into parts and brought it into a cave. He hid his father and began to live alone there. Many years passed. The child, Grendel, grew, but every day he cried with his father's skull to commemorate him. Meanwhile, at the Viking tribe in Denmark, a priest performed a ritual to inaugurate a new mead hall. He informed the leader that the hall was ready. On the other side, Grendel, after many years of waiting to avenge his father, finally left the cave. That night, when the Viking warriors were celebrating in the hall, Grendel appeared. He killed the guards outside the door, smashed their heads, and stormed inside. There, he slaughtered all the Viking warriors brutally. The next morning, the leader and his people went to the hall. The scene horrified him. The bodies of the warriors who had stayed overnight lay everywhere. All were killed in a barbaric way. The leader asked where the commander was when this happened. Another person responded that he was in the village. Some young people had stayed after drinking. But I don't know who killed them so cruelly. Strangely, no women or elderly were touched. Hearing that, the leader felt insecure. The scene moved to a ship led by a famous Viking warrior, Beowulf. They got off the boat, intending to plunder. But during the trip, the cold weather forced them to stop near Denmark. That night, the Danish leader and his bodyguard approached the mountain and called out loudly to challenge the monster. But when he stepped up a few steps, the monster suddenly appeared behind him and beat the guards. From a distance, the leader saw that scene and rushed with his sword. But before he arrived, the monster had run away. He did not understand why the monster had never directly fought with him, but only killed the guards and escaped. The next morning, the whole tribe gathered at the place where the murder occurred. The leader's wife said, "Many of our warriors are dead. How many more will live if this continues? It is too much." The leader did not answer, just silent with embarrassment. After that, his wife went to see Selma, a woman who lived alone in the mountain, ostracized by the community. She asked, "You who can foresee death, will my husband die this way?" Selma replied, "You who abandoned me, call me, now come and beg for help." The leader's wife said, "It was not my fault." Selma coldly said, "Now that is no longer important. Your husband will not die under Grendel's hand." Hearing that, the leader's wife quietly returned. Meanwhile, Beowulf and his warriors landed near the Danish tribe. A Danish cavalry saw them and warned, "This land belongs to the Vikings. If you come here to plunder, leave immediately." Beowulf responded, "Viking warrior, listen. During this trip, we just want to stop to rest for a few days, without intent to plunder." The scout said, "We have heard a lot about you. Come, I will take you to our leader." Beowulf and his people were led to the leader, who showed joy when he met him. "The last time I met your father, you were still a child. Now you have become a great warrior." Beowulf nodded in agreement. That night, the leader held a big feast in the hall to welcome Beowulf and his warriors. The leader's wife poured wine. During the party, Beowulf asked, "Why are there so few young men here?" The leader told him about the night attacks of the monster. After listening, Beowulf said, "If he comes every night to kill, then from now on, we and my people will wait for him." After the party, the leader, his wife, and villagers returned. Only Beowulf, his warriors, and some people from the tribe stayed in the hall. In the middle of the night, Grendel appeared outside. First he smelled around the entrance, then approached the door, sniffing to see if the people inside were locals or outsiders. Inside, Beowulf and his warriors knew Grendel had come, so they quickly prepared weapons. But the monster realized that there were warriors who were not indigenous. Instead of rushing in, he urinated on the closed door. When the people outside came out, the monster had disappeared into the night. The next morning, the leader told Beowulf, "Strangely, last night no one was killed." Beowulf agreed. The monster came to the door, but instead of fighting, he fled. Then Beowulf led some of his warriors and some people from the tribe to find the monster on the hill, hoping to kill it. But they still did not see any trace of him and returned to the village. A moment later, Beowulf went alone to see Selma, the woman living outside the village near the mountain. He said, "I heard that you could see death." Selma answered, "Right, and I also heard that you were a great warrior. But why did you come here?" Beowulf said, "I want to know how many people will die in this war between the monster, and whether the monster dies. It is important because I want to protect your people." Selma responded, "Not my people. When I was young, the leader made me live here and forced us to live in humiliation. As for your question, I have seen the future. The monster will be killed, but many warriors will also die, and this land will be red. Actually, the people here do not deserve anything better." Beowulf asked, "Why did you say that?" Selma replied, "For what they did to Grendel. This is the punishment. You should stay away from this." Before Beowulf asked more, his warriors came. They said it was about to be dark, and they needed to prepare, so Beowulf went back to the tribe with them. After that, Beowulf secretly asked the leader if the monster had ever killed women, children, or the elderly. The leader responded, "He only killed men." Beowulf said, "That means he is smart and in some way disciplined." The leader was surprised. "He killed my people, and you praise him?" Beowulf answered, "I did not praise him. I only thought that he must have a reason why he only kills men. So far, he has never attacked you directly or other villagers." The leader said, 20 years ago, a monster was killed. Since then, we haven't seen them. I don't know where this one comes from. If you are afraid, don't fight." That night, Beowulf and the warriors were in the hall waiting for the monster. When they heard his voice coming, they immediately rushed out with swords in hand, but once again, the monster was not seen. They went back inside disappointed. At that moment, Grendel quietly came out from behind the rocks, and then returned to his hiding place. The next day, Beowulf came to Selma and asked, "How can I kill the monster?" Selma replied, "Why don't you go home with your people?" Beowulf said, "Before leaving, we must know how to free the people from this monster." Selma led him to the hut, casting fortune-telling bones to find the answer. At that moment, Beowulf heard the monster outside. He immediately rushed out and saw Grendel, who immediately ran away. Beowulf jumped on a horse and chased. Before catching up, on the mountain, Selma also followed. Beowulf called out loudly, "If you have the courage, face me. Why do you keep running away?" The monster responded in its own language. Selma understood and translated for Beowulf. The monster says that his battle is not with you. You and your people have never harmed him, so he has never attacked you. Hearing that, Beowulf was extremely surprised. Then Selma returned to the hut. There he continued to ask, "So why is he still around here?" Selma explained, "The leader used to force us into a humiliating life. A man died in my bed. People blamed me for that death and then expelled me from the tribe. Since then, I live alone here. In the past, every night a Viking man came to humiliate me. But since the monster appeared, no one dares to come anymore. So I won't help you kill him. That poor monster has suffered too much." After listening, Beowulf went back to meet the leader and said, "Through Selma, we talked to the monster. He said that the Vikings treated him very brutally. That is why he takes revenge." The leader was confused and said, "I will talk to you about this later." When Beowulf left to return to his people, he saw a disabled man being brutally beaten. Beowulf intervened. The disabled man said, "My father used to fight the father of the monster. That is why the monster kills all men in our family. We know where the monster is living. You and the warriors can go there to kill him." Hearing that, Beowulf and the warriors went by boat to the mountain where the monster's cave was. Led by the disabled man, they arrived and climbed the mountain until they found the cave entrance. A Viking warrior tried to climb down but slipped. Others hurriedly pulled him up. After that, no one dared to enter. Instead, they urinated at the cave door and prepared to return to the boat. Suddenly, from the water, Grendel rushed out to attack the Viking who had just urinated, intending to kill him. But his teammates promptly countered. Grendel returned into the water, and the warrior's life was saved. After that, the group returned to the hall and waited all night. But this time, the monster did not appear. The next morning, Beowulf went out and discovered the monster had killed the disabled man who had pointed out the cave. Horrified, Beowulf and the warriors decided to return to the monster's cave, but this time they used a rope to reach the cave entrance. When they entered, they saw many strange things scattered everywhere. A warrior smashed the skull of Grendel's father and urinated on it. At that time, Grendel was not present, but when he returned, he immediately realized someone had entered the cave. Seeing his father's remains desecrated, he was enraged. That night, when the Vikings were sleeping in the hall, Grendel suddenly attacked. He killed the person who had humiliated his father's skull. Beowulf immediately rushed to fight, but his strength was too weak compared to the monster. The monster tried to escape through the roof, but Beowulf wrapped a heavy chain around his own hand and grabbed Grendel's leg. The monster angrily punched. Beowulf struggled, but his hand was stuck in the chain. A Viking shot an arrow at him, but it was deflected. Before the others attacked, the monster tightened his grip to escape. He ran to the sea, but collapsed and died on the shore. Suddenly, an invisible force pulled his body into the sea. The next day, the Vikings mourned their fallen teammates and cremated them. Beowulf said to the leader, "You only told me half the truth. Now the monster is dead, at least tell me all." The leader confessed, "We used to kill the monster's father without a reason, and now all have to pay the price." Beowulf responded, "You thought an innocent person was killed, but this monster was not like you. He had never harmed the innocent." Hearing that, the leader was ashamed and hung his head. That night, the Vikings hung Grendel's severed arm in the hall and celebrated, believing that he was really dead. Then most returned home. Beowulf went to meet Selma. She said, "I told you, the monster is gone, but you still have many wounds." Then she revealed her past. "Many years ago, the monster came to me. He was with me once, but then never touched me again. Since then, the Vikings did not dare to disturb me anymore." She also said, "He was not evil. He only carries in himself the pain of childhood." During the conversation, Selma and Beowulf grew closer, and finally they fell into each other's arms. In the middle of the night, Grendel's mother came into the village. On the way, she killed a priest. She walked into the hall and slaughtered all the Viking warriors inside. She took her son's severed arm and left. The next morning, a boy secretly approached Selma. She told him to keep silent and sent him away silently. Meanwhile, the Viking warriors believed that the monster was still alive and had caused the new massacre. They set out to hunt for it again. At the coast, they discovered a decapitated body. Beowulf's doubt grew bigger. Perhaps the monster was still alive. He rushed into the cave alone and dove into the water. Inside, he saw the monster's body lying on a rock. But when he approached, the monster's mother suddenly attacked from behind. She grabbed his neck, but Beowulf took a stone and hit her head. Then he snatched a sword and killed her. At that moment, the boy appeared, holding a sword. Seeing him, Beowulf immediately understood that the boy was the son of Selma and the monster. Beowulf put his weapon down and did not harm him. Then Beowulf returned to the tribe and told the leader, "I will leave. The monster and his mother are truly dead." Before leaving, he met Selma again and warned, if everyone knew that the monster had a child, they would kill both mother and son. Selma calmly responded, "This secret is only between us." After saying that, she left. Finally, Beowulf dug a grave for the monster and his mother outside Selma's hut. From a distance, the son of the monster quietly watched everything, his eyes teary. Then Beowulf and his people left, and the movie ends here. What do you think about this movie? Let others know your opinion in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and see you again in the next videos.